Hey, glad you subscribed to my channel recently. I noticed that. I'm so happy because I'm so close to having 1,000 subscribers, and then I can finally make money off of this channel. So thank you for helping me get closer. All right, what are we going to look at today while I'm on location here in Sacramento, California, in which, if you are subscriber Silent Bob, you say it looks more like what the ghetto is around here in the first world country suburbs with the palm trees here, huh? All right. I'm looking at a comment that I received on a video I made called, "Am I an Ethnocentric American?" Our friend Herman Salza had this to say, quote, "If someone says they're not ethnocentric, they are just virtue signaling. Being ethnocentric is just human nature. I imagine there are exceptions to the rule that truly are not ethnocentric, but if so, they have serious identity issues." And I think that's interesting. I think it's a good point that obviously we are blinded by our own culture, the way we all grew up. And unless we're very well versed in all the cultures of the entire world, to some degree, we're going to be ethnocentric to some degree. And if not, like you said, then it leads to it's a result of serious identity issues. You may live in a country where basically you're brainwashed or something like that. Obviously, where we grew up and how we're raised, our values are going to be a result of the nation we grew up in and the culture attached to it. There's no way to perfectly avoid it. So obviously, by default, yes, I'm ethnocentric to some degree, and so are others. But again, if I am ethnocentric, it's definitely not in the way that I think Americans are better than any other nationality or culture. I definitely strongly disagree with that. I'm proud to be an American, but I do not see myself as better because I'm an American. I think America is a wonderful country. I'm so proud to be part of it. But to say it's the best country in the world, I'm not that conceited. I think there's a difference between being proud and being conceited. And I've been to many parts of the rest of the world, and I've talked about them in these videos. So I think ultimately the word ethnocentric, it can be a confusing term. It's almost like calling someone ignorant versus calling someone an idiot. You know, a lot of people hear ignorant and they think that you're calling them an idiot. Ignorant actually just means you don't know certain things. An idiot is, if you're asking me, it has to do with more of just being unable to comprehend even common sense things. So on that train of thought, we're all ignorant to some degree, and therefore we're all ethnocentric to some degree, because you can't know certain things until you're truly immersed into certain cultures. Just like, again, I think sort of what started this whole conversation was here in America, we know it's common knowledge that we don't have to speak other languages in order to be successful here in America. You know, and there's many parts of the world we can travel to only speaking English, and we can do just fine. Compare that to someone in Europe, where you travel to another country, it's the same distance as us traveling to a different state. We don't need to learn a different language. But if you're in Europe, good chance you need to know a different language just to do that. We're here in America, we're a large country. We've got 2 neighbors, and one of them speaks the same language as us. So does that make me ethnocentric, or is it ethnocentric for a European to think that we're conceited, that we're arrogant for admitting out loud we can only speak one language and get away with it? Well, maybe that's ethnocentric of Europeans because they don't understand what it's like to be here and realize that we can more than function on having just one language spoken. And ultimately, it's not really a part of our identity to need to know much about history or culture outside of where we live, because to do well in business, we can do just fine speaking one language here in America, and that being it. That doesn't mean that I think the English is the superior language in the world, that I think Americans are better. No. It's just a matter of, it comes down to what's pragmatic, to what's practical in American culture. So yeah, I do think it's interesting that ultimately we all, to some degree, are ethnocentric. To some degree, in the same way that we're all ignorant to some degree. And again, I always point out how ironic and hilarious it is that, you know, I make a point of at the end of my videos saying, yes, I am ignorant, but I am open-minded So tell me what I need to know in the comments. And I say that because people are so quick to criticize me for not knowing things about the rest of the world, when that's part of why I'm making these videos. It's funny to me to criticize someone for not knowing something, especially when they're asking questions and ultimately just engaging a conversation about it. All right, we're all ethnocentric, we're all ignorant, but are we willing to admit it? What do you have to add to that conversation? Comments right here. Do it.